Just why don't you join us up here? Thank you. Good evening to all of you. I want to thank the New York State Police for being here, the Department of Correction Services, DEC, our partners from the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. We have the Vermont State Police here, Clinton County District Attorney, the Franklin County District Attorney, the sheriffs from Franklin and Clinton, Plattsburgh City Police, Malone Village Police Department, and the St. Regis Mohawk Tribal Police. This afternoon, as has been reported, there was a civil complaint, civilian complaint in the town of Duane. There was a gunshot that was fired at a camping trailer. The state police responded to investigate the complaint. They came upon a cabin. They went inside the cabin. They detected the smell of gunpowder. The law enforcement partners were then notified, and the Customs and Border Patrol tactical team helicoptered in and approached the site. The team came upon Matt, who was an escaped prisoner from Dannemora, engaged Mr. Matt, who was armed, and Mr. Matt was shot and killed. We have no reason to believe that Mr. Sweat was not with Mr. Matt at the time, but we don't have any confirming evidence that he was either. There are several leads that are being tracked down as we speak about Mr. Sweat and his possible whereabouts, but we don't have anything to confirm where Mr. Sweat is at this time. I want to thank New Yorkers. I want to thank the people of Clinton County and Franklin County who have put up with a lot over these past 20 days. We've had over 2,300 leads, so New Yorkers have been very helpful in responding to put an end to this crisis. I want to thank our partners in law enforcement who have done an extraordinary job, our local partners, our federal partners who have been away from their homes and their families to come here and help us over these past 3 weeks or so. You never want to see anyone lose their life, but I would remind people that Mr. Matt was an escaped murderer from a state prison. Mr. Matt killed 2 people who we know about. Mr. Matt killed his boss in a dispute and dismembered him. He fled to Mexico, and then he killed another person in Mexico and was imprisoned in Mexico. Mr. Sweat is also dangerous. Mr. Sweat was involved in the killing of a sheriff's deputy in Broome County, where the sheriff's deputy had come upon a crime. Mr. Sweat and his accomplices hit the sheriff's deputy with the car, got out and shot him 22 times, and then ran over him. So these are dangerous, dangerous men. And that's why you see law enforcement from across this country arrayed before you today, cooperating with one mission: to bring these gentlemen to justice. I'm now going to turn it over to Superintendent Joseph D'Amico, who's head of the state police, which has been heading up the investigation in cooperation with our partners. I would remind everyone that this is an ongoing investigation, so the amount of information that can be provided to the public is something that we have to watch carefully. Obviously, we don't want to give the people we're pursuing any more information than we need to. With that, Superintendent Joseph D'Amico.
Thank you, Governor. So I just wanted to take a second and bring you back to how we got into this area searching where we discovered Matt today. So as you recall, we had a report of a burglary last Saturday where we were able to identify property left at the scene by Matt, and we deployed heavily in that area. That burglary was in a camp about 3 miles off of any paved roadway. Wednesday night, late Wednesday night, we received a report of a break-in of a cabin off Route 41 in the town of Malone. A screen had been cut and a window was broken into. We responded up. We recovered evidence from that break-in, which also indicated that Matt was present at that scene. So we, late yesterday, we deployed a number of uniform officers and tactical teams up to that area and started to establish a fairly wide grid for searching. Into today, we were able to confirm that property recovered at the scene was in fact Matt this morning. Late morning, we discovered through search teams what we believe to be a camp where maybe somebody had laid down. We found candy wrappers and some other things that were left behind that was all seized. And so we had a fairly aggressive search in the area today. And about 1:51 today, we received the report that a camper, a person towing a camper, believed that their camper had been shot. Originally, they had heard a sound. They thought maybe they had a flat. They got out. They realized they didn't have a flat. They drove on about 8 miles, and when they pulled into a campsite, they examined the trailer that they were towing and realized that there was a bullet hole through the back of the camper. So based on that, they notified state police. We responded and realized that the location of the shooting was probably about 8 miles back. And as the governor indicated, we deployed teams from multiple agencies to that area. We were able to get into the cabin where we discovered the smell of gunpowder and realized that a weapon had been fired. Also, there was indication that someone recently had been there and had fled out the back door. As we were doing the ground search in the area, there was movement detected by officers on the ground, what they believed to be coughs, so they knew they were dealing with humans as opposed to wildlife. And a tactical team from Customs and Border Protection met up with Matt in the woods, challenged him, and he was shot dead by Border Patrol at that time. We recovered a 20-gauge shotgun from Matt's body at the location. Based on that, we continue to search. We have a lot of people in the area. We have canines, and we have a decent perimeter set up, and we're searching for Sweat at this time. We have no actual sighting of Sweat by law enforcement, but we have no indication that Sweat wasn't accompanying Matt at the time that he was shot and killed. So we're going to maintain the perimeter that we have, continue to do a good ground search, just as we have in the last couple of days, a tactic that's been successful for us in law enforcement. And until such time as we receive other information, we'll be doing a very thorough search. We've followed up on in excess of 2,400 leads at this time. We take every one of them serious. We thank the public for the tips that they've called in. And just as the governor said, I'd like to thank all my law enforcement partners who stand here with me today. A tremendous effort on the ground over the last 3 weeks. 24 hours a day. In the state police, we couldn't have done it without the people who are standing here. We truly appreciate it. I'd also like to extend my personal thanks to the people of the communities where we've been searching. We know that it's very intrusive to have we do understand it's very intrusive to have the level of law enforcement that we've maintained over the last 3 weeks. I thank you for your patience, for your support, and for looking out for our officers. We truly do appreciate it. I would ask, though, that we remain vigilant because Sweat is still out there. He's considered dangerous. We're going to continue to look for him and search just as hard until we find him. But please, any kind of sightings, don't approach. Please dial 911 or our tip line, and please let us know about it. So, thank you. Take some questions.
Superintendent, I asked you said that the Border Patrol team challenged Matt. What exactly did they say to him? What exactly did they tell him to do?
The shooting investigation is ongoing. This is pretty fresh for us. We're out at the scene. We're doing forensic work, and obviously, we'll be taking statements from the team that was involved in the shooting. I can tell you they verbally challenged him, told him to put up his hands, and at that time, he was shot when he didn't comply. That's all I can say about that until we continue our investigation.
Did he open fire on the officer?
No, there was no shots fired by Matt at the scene.
Superintendent, you said the physical evidence in the two cabins showed that Matt was there. Does any evidence show that sweat was present in any of those places?
Yes, we recovered evidence from the burglary almost a week ago that indicated that Sweat and Matt were together, yes.
What about today? The captain, the lady captain, was sweat found to be there as well?
On which?
Not the captain on Saturday, the captain on Wednesday.
We didn't recover evidence of Sweat present at the burglary that was reported to us on Wednesday. That was the one in the town of Malone off County Route 41. Not saying he wasn't there, just didn't recover the evidence. Do I believe? Well, we've always gone under the assumption that these men were armed. They're dangerous. You know, we think they probably had access to a number of cabins and lean-tos and other hunting structures. And, you know, oftentimes you find weapons left behind. So from day one, we've assumed that they've been armed. In the case of the burglary that we had on last week in the hunting camp, we did believe a 20-gauge shotgun was taken. And it's a weapon, either the weapon or a similar weapon to the one that we recovered today from Matt.
What was the last known positive sighting of sweat?
The last positive sighting of Sweat at the time of his escape.
Is there any evidence
That they've had assistant? Not that we know of.
Do you still think Sweat is on his way to Canada?
You know, there's no factual evidence that either of them were on their way to Canada. You know, they were moving north. The last path that we saw, when you take the burglary from last week and the burglary reported on Wednesday, it's a northern path. When we redeployed yesterday, we did deploy north. We wanted to ensure they weren't headed for Canada, and we began to kind of press southward from it. But, you know, at no time did we have solid evidence. I will say from the beginning, our Canadian partners in RCMP and Sûreté Quebec have been involved with us and have been very vigilant on their side of the border.
What is the last evidence you have, DNA or otherwise, that puts Sweat any place in particular?
You know, I don't want to get into the evidence of the investigation, but as I said, we have recovered evidence that they were together at some point after the escape.
Is there a desire to capture sweat in order to help with the investigation of the break itself?
There's been a desire to capture both of these men since they broke out of prison. Of course, you know, our preference would always be to capture them alive, you know.
So you're going to search night and day and look at it for the whole night?
We are going to continue the same tactics we've used over the last 3 weeks, which is to search 24 hours a day until we find them.
Did he say anything before he shot?
Not that I know of.
Given the path, is there any particular communities that should be on edge about their particular communities?
Well, again, I mean, the area of Duane and Malone is where we've been searching recently. It's where our perimeter is. I think most people are familiar with the uniform presence. I would say, not just there, though. I ask people everywhere to be vigilant, you know, to be alert. If you see prowlers or if you see something that's suspicious, please either call the tip line or dial 911. It's very important, and it's been very helpful to us, so we appreciate it.
Do we know who shot Matt and how many shots were fired?
I can only say that a tactical team from the Customs and Border Protection, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, engaged Matt, and he was shot by one of their members.
What was the exact location, Superintendent?
The location is off State Route 30 on the southern part of Malone, where it borders Duane.
Okay.
How much is the search costing on a day-to-day basis? Do you have any, is that anything that's being tracked?
Well, you have a number. You have a number of partners who are involved here. From a personnel point of view, primarily you have Department of Corrections of New York State. You have State Police Superintendent, but you also have federal, local enforcement agents. We haven't tallied up the cost. There's no doubt that it's expensive, but there's also no doubt, in my opinion, but that it is worth it. This was the first escape from this prison in the prison's history. And this is a prison that goes back about 100 years. And these are truly armed and dangerous people. And we will do what we have to do to bring them to justice. And that's exactly what you see before you tonight. I would just like to second the superintendent's thanks to the members of the community, and also, once again, for people in the immediate vicinity, be safe, be careful. If you see something suspicious, dial 911. Thank you very much.